Before we get started with a new season of Everything is Connected, I just wanted to take a moment and say thank you to all of the listeners from all over the world. We had more listenership in 2024 across the globe than ever before. So thank you all. It's really such a joy and such a pleasure to be in company with you on this journey, being in conversation with artists and curators, visual creatives and cultural leaders, people who are actively thinking about our world, investigating our society, and doing that through the visual landscape, through curatorial projects, and through thinking about creative solutions to some of the world's problems. Firstly and foremost, before I get into the episode, I really want to give a big thank you and a big shout out to all of the folks at the Africa Institute and all of the people at the Sharjah Art Foundation who were really integral in my special capsule season on the Venice Biennale last year. I was able to be in conversation with some really important players and key people, a beautiful selection of artists and curators of the African diaspora who participated in last year's historic and groundbreaking edition of the Venice Biennale. So definitely do not want to forget to say thank you for that. Very much appreciative of everything that we were able to put together and just being able to hold court and hold conversation with so many brilliant minds and so many interesting and dynamic people. Outside of producing more episodes than ever before in the calendar year, 2024 also marked a period, I think, and I feel as I reflect, on a lot more vulnerability in the conversations that I was having with artists and curators. And one of my most proudest moments of the year was easily the tribute episode that we did on Radcliffe Bailey that featured a lot of the voices and testimonials of many people who were very close to him, who had either worked with him very closely or had a deep, long-standing relationship with Radcliffe throughout his lifetime. And in the spirit of thinking about that also makes me think about the fact that over the last couple of years and very recently, we've lost the cycle of rebirth and renewal is all around us. And I don't think I could really do this work without paying homage to those who have come before us and those who have been here and paved the way. And so I take a lot of pride in being able to do the work that I do, but I also recognize that there's a responsibility to do it well and to do it with a level of integrity. When I had the opportunity to speak to people very close to Radcliffe, and it was very recent that he had passed away in 2023, I knew that was something that I felt called to do, and I knew that was something that would be important. And it wouldn't necessarily be, it's not for me. It would be important for the people who had built the relationship with Radcliffe. It would be important for the artists who had been inspired by his work. And it would be important expanding and adding to the canon of conversations that we are having in this moment and that we will continue to have about art, about creative people, about people whose stories haven't always been told. And I just want to say thank you again to everyone who participated and added their testimonials and their stories about Radcliffe to that episode. I feel very much indebted to you, and it is with great pleasure and great honor that I do this work. So thank you. One of the most beautiful things of last year's season was being able to see how artists were opening up with that level of vulnerability that I spoke about. And that willingness to really share feelings and deep emotions and not to shy away from some of the more sensitive parts of the acts of creation, right? The idea of putting yourself out there in the world and giving of yourself to others, whether that is to be critiqued or observed. When you put yourself out there creatively, you are giving a piece of yourself away, right? And I think that there are times when I've heard artists talk about that vulnerability and talk about that sense that you maybe in some ways expose yourself. You expose the inner workings, the inner feelings of who you are. And that's not always easy. And it takes a lot of courage. And so I think one of the things that's so beautiful is to reflect on how courageous, especially in the times that we are living in right now, when The world is rife with so much challenge, so much turmoil. There are so many difficult things that people are facing on an everyday basis. To open up and to have that courage to share and to create in spite of all of the challenges that we are facing as a society and in this contemporary moment is such a beautiful way to respond to life. And I just want to say thank you again to all of the artists who participated in last year's season of Everything is Connected. Stay tuned as we begin season 5 of Lightwork Presents Everything is Connected. We'll keep the conversation going with continuing our journey, talking to artists, creatives, talking to folks who are steeped in visual culture, and continuing to dive deep into the acts of creation that are inspiring us, ideas that are motivating us, and how we are all looking out into the world, responding to that, and thinking about that. So I thank you so much for joining me on the journey, and let's keep it going.